today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The latest as it pertains to the DAZN platform per veteran boxing scribe Jamie James, who says DAZN majority shareholder Access Industries has secured significant investment in a deal set to be concluded in the coming months ahead of an IPO in 2025.
What does IPO mean?
It's an acronym for an initial public offering. That's when a private company sells shares of its stock to the public for the first time, allowing it to raise capital from investors. This is also known as going public. DAZN is trending towards profitability, though it will remain in loss-making until 2025 next year. An IPO will allow Blavatnik's Access Industries to recoup its significant investment while maintaining a shareholding. DAZN currently has 300 million active users, with a goal of reaching 1 billion by 2030. Financing through investment and an IPO is required to reach those numbers.
So the plan is to go public so that Len Blavatnik can get a return on his investment.
Needless to say that DAZN has come a long way from when they first debuted in America in 2018. What's it been, 5 or 6 years now? That some content creators here on YouTube told you that they wouldn't last long, they'd go under, they'd go bankrupt. No, they've only grown. They have only expanded
Their reach,
their area of operations, their catalog. When we talk about DAZN as a platform here on the channel, we focus on the boxing because this is a boxing channel, but unbeknownst to most, they show more than just boxing, especially in all these other territories outside of America.
the Americans don't know that.
Long gone are the days of Leonard Smellerby calling DAZN dead zone, that no one would fight there and no one would watch it. No one's watching you.
You've gone from carrying spit buckets for Floyd Mayweather to, if you work really hard and act really nice, Gervonta Davis might let you make the coffee.
Leonard Ellerby, one of these pseudo-business guys cosplaying a CEO, cosplaying a promoter, that thought he knew something about the industry that a billionaire, that a Len Blavatnik didn't know.
The key words here are secured a significant investment, that when they go public in 2025, the money's already there.
And the deal is set to be finalized in the coming months. I heard a rumor. I heard it said that, at the end of Frank Warren's existing deal with TNT, he might go over to DAZN. He might migrate over there. And when you see how famously him and Eddie are now getting along, and the success of their Matchroom versus Queensberry 5 versus 5,
I could see him doing that. I could see that happening.
which would make it very hard for the only other game in town in the United Kingdom, Ben Shalom, boxer on Sky Sports, to compete. If two of the major promotional outfits have their fighters fighting on the same platform, they're essentially working together in this scenario, that would make Ben Shalom's job very hard. And that's assuming Sky Sports is still in boxing, because some have said when the deal is up and it's time to renew, they won't. That Ben Shalom is not delivering strong enough matches, strong enough programming to keep Sky Sports in boxing.
We'll see.
If something happens, you know where to go. You go to DAZN.
Billionaires working with other billionaires in their endeavors. Len Blavatnik's DAZN working alongside Turki Al-Sheikh in his vision of the sport and all he's delivered us.
It's beautiful, but I can't help but remember how so many dim-witted Americans and content creators tried to down Len Blavatnik, down DAZN, down Eddie Hearn, down Matchroom. They're on the up and up. But where is Fox? Where is Showtime? Where's Al Heyman and his PBC? Where are they? How are they doing? What I see is that Eddie Hearn
Is who Al Heyman pretends to be, that Len Blavatnik is who Stefan Espinoza pretends to be.
It's what I see, and it's good, because so many of the major outfits here in America, the PBC included, have treated boxing like a fire sale.
They treat each card like it's a one-time thing. No investment in the future. No new ideas and innovations.
And all the while, the market for boxing and the size of the audience dwindled here in America.
And all these idiots could do is lower the bar of standard, crowning Gervonta Davis the face of boxing, a guy who couldn't crack 300,000 buys by himself.
Celebrating their own mediocrity. Conversations like this may soon become a thing of the past, because I would be surprised if the PBC even manages to survive beyond this year? If they do, they don't seem to have very much left.
Irrelevant.
I told you streaming apps are the future. I told you DAZN's gonna do all right, more than all right. They're gonna grow.
And they have.
Listen, it's like just water and sparkling. When you open just water, it's good. If you shake sparkling, it's
Yeah.
But it's sparkling water, it's Dyson Fury. Still water, it's
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
It's a great
Is
analogy.
that a good comparison?
Yeah, he is. Because he looks like he's not as athletic, but he's athletic in there. And
He
he's
looks like a
his
sparkling water.
Yes.
like hands, like 2 meters.
Right.
I say it's как веревка будет.
Like a rope.
Yeah, like a rope.
Yeah.
I say, whew.
Right.
Alex, be careful, please. Because like punch this.
Right.
One like this now.
Right.
Oh.
It's
Be careful, Alex. Hands here. Okay. Good defense. Oh.
This comes to us by way of the 3 knockdown rule with Stephen Kimothy and Mario Lopez, who recently sat down with Egis Klimas and Oleksandr Usyk, who described the difference between fighting Anthony Joshua and fighting Tyson Fury. He likened Anthony Joshua to still water, and he likened Tyson Fury to seltzer water. What I took away from it is Tyson Fury's a bit more unpredictable, bit more herky-jerky.
His movements are more complex.
And even with that, you would back Anthony Joshua to stop Tyson Fury. Would you hold to that prediction?
I would.
Why?
Because styles make fights, triangle theories don't work, and given the number of times that Tyson Fury has been put down throughout his entire career, his defense is not so impregnable that he can't be touched. He has been touched many, many times by lesser fighters and lesser punchers than Anthony Joshua.
If Nevin Pajcik can land on you, and Steve Cunningham, and Deontay Wilder 4 separate times across 2 separate fights, an MMA fighter in Francis Ngannou who never even had a professional boxing match, and more recently, Oleksandr Usyk. If these men can hurt you and put you down, I think Anthony can do one better and put you out.
And that was before he paired up with Ben Davison. With him, I'm sure of it.
That was before those two started working together. I've always had Anthony Joshua beating Tyson Fury if and when they ever fought. The same way I had Usyk beating Fury, I've still got AJ beating Fury.
Secret weapon.
Ben Davison's boxing brain, his boxing mind, and the fact that, he has had a close look at Tyson Fury because he used to work with him. When Tyson Fury mounted his comeback, who was in his corner? Ben Davison was in his corner.
Now he's in Anthony's.
That ain't good for Tyson. That ain't good for Tyson Fury. So Tyson Fury activated his rematch clause, and I didn't expect him to do that. I expected the opposite, and he's supposed to be fighting Oleksandr Usyk for a second time.
Later on this year.
In terms of tactics and strategy, I don't see what Tyson Fury can do different because, as I stated in the buildup of the fight, he doesn't do anything better than Oleksandr Usyk in a nuts and bolts boxing fundamental kind of way. He's not a better boxer than Usyk, he's just bigger. And just being bigger, it didn't work the first time.
It won't the second.
The first time Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder, he decided to box him. After that fight, he decided to put on more weight because he realized he could bully Deontay Wilder if he puts him on his back foot. If you try that with Usyk,
He'll chin you that much faster.
he'll catch you, and now he knows he can hurt you. When Tyson Fury got rocked in the 9th round, it was as he was trying to come forward, stepping into his punches and putting them together. And he got hit with a 2-piece that rattled him. So if Usyk can hurt you, and Usyk's not even known for power,
Now he knows that.
can hurt you again. Rematches are often won by the fighter who can make the most adjustments. I feel like that's Usyk more than it's Fury. The most that Fury can do is put on more weight to try harder to bully the guy.
But that's it.
So Usyk describes Fury as being seltzer water, whereas Anthony is still water. I take that as Anthony is a more textbook boxer, whereas Fury is more fidgety and nuanced.
He may have been harder for Oleksandr Usyk to read.
That's how I interpret that. But he now has all of the experiences from the first fight to draw from ahead of a second. And I really think he's going to knock out Tyson Fury this time. I think he's going to stop him. The question is, if he does, what does Fury do afterwards? Does he retire? Does he even fight Anthony Joshua?
Fury's not in a place where he's willing to take a haircut on the money just to keep busy. to be in a keep busy fight.
But you figure that if he loses later on this year, he'll be coming off of 2 back-to-back losses. And what does that do for the Joshua fight? It's not conducive towards making it.
Well, didn't you say the Brits don't care about unblemished, perfect records? Didn't you say that they would still want to see that fight?
They would. I think they would, given the bad blood and the history between them. The question is, off of 2 back-to-back losses, would Fury want to have that fight? His team, his family, his handlers.
But they want to do it.
If you make it, given the history between them, people will buy it. Oh, people will buy the fight. They will. But will Tyson Fury even want to do it?
I don't consider Tyson Fury a mentally strong fighter.
I remember when the people at Sky Sports were asking him about his relationship with Daniel Kinahan, how uncomfortable he got and how uncomfortable and belligerent he got with True Geordie, a popular podcaster here on YouTube, who asked him some simple questions, but Fury couldn't handle it. I remember after the Ngannou fight, he skipped out on the post-fight press conference out of embarrassment.
I don't think he's mentally strong, and that was when he was still unbeaten.
So what about now? How's he handling this? How's his confidence levels? He didn't look all that confident going in. I don't think he's all that confident now.
Ring Magazine recently named you #1 pound for pound. What other goals are out there now for you?
I think maybe after a match, I wanna go to down my weight, cruiserweight. I wanna more cruiserweight.
Maybe go back down, really.
Maybe go back down in
Wow.
cruiserweight, and we spoke about that also yesterday.
Wow.
that
Well,
maybe go down
I
cruiserweight
did-
and get undisputed second time in the cruiserweight
Yeah,
division.
maybe it's my plan because when start my prepare my training camp, I'll shop say yeah because I'm eat every time.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
it's hard. I
Yeah.
don't like 3 times cocktail.
Yeah, he's gotta keep it
water,
up, yes.
Protein,
Yeah.
banana good.
Yeah.
Yes,
I like.
yes.
I like.
But not 1,000 of them.
So that wasn't on my bingo card. That after Usyk beats Fury and becomes a 2-time undisputed champion, he would stick around the sport long enough to perhaps see himself move back down to cruiserweight for a second undisputed run there, really a third undisputed run against today's cruiserweight champions. No, that's the last thing I thought Usyk would have on his mind if he achieved this monumental goal. There hasn't been an undisputed heavyweight champion since, I think, 2000, the year 2000.
He did it.
There's really nothing left to do and nothing left to prove. I think Usyk is, 36 or 37 years old now? You don't want to see a fighter of Usyk's caliber overstay his welcome in the sport the way so many other fighters have in the past, losing to fighters he would have otherwise beaten in his prime. But he's doing so well and looking so dominant.
He's up there in the land of the giants, giving them what for. He's been in there with Chisora, with Joshua 2 times, with Dubois, with Fury.
That if he can handle himself with them at this age, dropping down to cruiserweight for him might be a breath of fresh air. And I know what immediately comes to mind. The cautionary tale of Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr., who moved up to heavyweight, having debuted as a junior middle. He eventually found himself in the heavyweight division. Opposite the ring, John the Quiet Man Ruiz. And he actually beat him. He outclassed him. But afterwards, instead of retiring, he sticks around the sport, drops back down to light heavyweight. And he was never the same after that. Close competitive fight with Antonio Tarver. Roy being Roy, he decides to run it back with him. He gets knocked out. Gets knocked out by Tarver, loses the second fight, loses the third. And, he was just never the same after that. That after he moved up, he wasn't supposed to come back down.
And then you think about what Usyk is saying. Usyk, who moved up to heavyweight, now he wants to move back down. Does he end up like Roy?
Usyk's situation is slightly different than Roy's. Because Usyk is a naturally bigger man than Roy Jones Jr. was.
And he's not dropping down from heavyweight down to light heavyweight. No, his descent is not as far.
Might be able to manage this, as strange as that might sound. It's an idea so provocative, I don't even want to see a Fury rematch. I'd prefer that Usyk get on this now.
What?
We've already seen him in there with Tyson Fury. If the prediction sticks, he's just going to beat him again. That's what I think is going to happen. Whereas going down there to today's cruiserweight division, I happen to think Usyk came up in a much more lethal, a much more deadly cruiserweight division. That crop of cruiserweights that were there. Murat Gassiev, Meiris Briedis, Uniel Dorticos.
To a lesser extent, Krzysztof Blavatsky.
I feel like today's cruiserweight champions would have never become champions in that landscape against those cruiserweights. That Zerto Ramirez probably wouldn't have won a WBA title from Uniel Dorticos.
No.
Not completely sure today's Chris Billum Smith would have won the WBO title from yesterday's Krzysztof Blavatsky, let alone Usyk, who took it from him.
Noel Gavor actually had his crack at the apple at the WBC title back when Meiris Briedis had it, and he gave him a good fight, but he didn't win.
Just think about that Usyk came up in a much tougher landscape, a much tougher era of cruiserweights, if you will, than today's era. And I look at how he's doing up there at heavyweight, and I tell myself, he actually could beat these cruiserweights. The toughest fight for him would have to be Jai Opataya, who's a great young fighter, but he just gassed out with a 40-year-old Meiris Briedis in what was their rematch.
That was the second fight. In the first fight, he got his jaw broken 2 places.
And that was against a much older Meiris Briedis than the one that Oleksandr Usyk fought.
Think about that.
So the idea that Usyk might return to the cruiserweight division, I mean, almost immediately, I definitely think he beats Chris Billum Smith. I do. He'd take his title from him. Against Zerto Ramirez, you would see an even better version of the fight that Bivol fought at 175 against Zerto. Against Usyk for Zerto, it would be the same, but worse.
Usyk might stop him.
Noel Gavor, a tough, formidable fighter, serviceable fighter, but Usyk would beat him too. And Jai Opataya, I think. I think he would beat Jai. And Jai is the best in show at cruiserweight right now.
I think Usyk beats him.
Jai Opataya, tough as nails, hits harder than the son of a bitch, but he swings wide.
He's fast and he's strong.
Nowhere near as nuanced as Oleksandr Usyk.
Even at 37 years old.
As crazy as it sounds, I do think if Usyk were to go back there, he could become an undisputed champion again.
But should he?
He's an excellent fighter, and I don't want to see him overstay his welcome in the sport, because how many times have we seen that?